Hello?
Hi, Tracy.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. Wasn't sure if I was going to get this working properly.
Oh, you have. You have. That's really good. So at least there's one of you, so that's brilliant. I think we just got somebody else coming in now, so that's fantastic. Um, so so Naomi's just joined us. So Tracy, are you a therapist at the moment?
No, I'm looking at options for a potential career change.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah, so I work for an estate agent currently.
Okay.
And I've not done anything like this before, so I'm very, very fresh, but I'm just looking at some options.
Yeah, brilliant. Well,
Yeah.
this is perfect for you then.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I saw your sign up, and I've been thinking about it for quite some time.
Okay.
And so yeah, came at the right kind of time, I think.
Ah, well, that's good. And even if there's only one or two people that I'm talking to, and then I'll pop this on I'll probably pop this onto social media anyway. But even if I just talk to one or two of you, then that's fine. That's still definitely worth it. And Naomi, I know you're muted at the moment.
Oh,
Um she's unmuting, I think. So Naomi, are you a therapist at the moment?
There we go. No, I'm not. Can you
Okay.
hear me? Yeah,
Yeah, I can
yeah.
hear
No,
you
I'm
now.
not.
Yeah.
No, no experience of this at all. I've had reflexology done to me, but I've
Yeah.
never done it to anyone myself.
Wonderful. Okay, so this is perfect for you too.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, yeah, hopefully. Well, it's not going to cost you anything, only a bit of time.
Okay.
So that's fine. And I've just got your computer name there. The third person that's just entered the group. But we'll connect to you. So Tracy, Naomi, what kind of let's start with Tracy. What kind of therapies are you thinking of getting into?
I was thinking massage initially, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I am sort of looking into this because there's so
Yeah.
many branches and different avenues you can
Yeah.
kind of go down. Like, what would be the best kind of route? Um, yeah, that would give you the best foundations if you're coming into this very fresh.
Perfect. Okay, so maybe massage, maybe not. What about you, Naomi?
Initially, I was thinking reflexology.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what's out there. Really, I'm quite
Okay.
open.
And is are you going on what you are you basing your decisions on what you've got the most experience of receiving?
Um, I guess. Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm quite intrigued by reflexology. Like, when you talk to some people about it, they're, perhaps they think it's a little bit woo or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it is something that does interest me, and I've had it done to myself, and my experience is that I believe it. It the therapist obviously has no experience of me in my life, and for them to be able to just do what they do and tell me things about myself, I just find it amazing, really. So I'd love to be able
Yeah.
to learn more about it, really.
Okay, fantastic. So it is 7:30, and I think it's amazing that three of you have put the time aside. So that's great for me, that I get to actually talk to real people. Um, and what I'm going to do is I am going to record this for, like I say, to put it on to say my website or something. So if you don't want your face on the recording, then feel free to turn your face off, your video off, and we'll go from there. So if we just make a start, and then if anybody turns up late, then that's fine. What's the name of the third person in the group? So you've got a P30 light. So I'm just going to ask for a name. And then I'm just going to wait for the name back. So Tracy and Naomi and
Anna.
ah,
Sorry, I had some problems. I couldn't hear you.
okay. So Anna.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. So Tracy, Naomi, and Anna. Okay, wonderful. So let's go on to let's talk about what we are all here for, which is how do you actually make a start in holistic therapies? I don't know if you've already had a look at these things, but it is like a minefield out there, and it's very difficult to work out what's what. Why is it worth? Why does someone offer a course for £200 and somebody else offers a course for £3,000? What's the difference? Is there any difference? And how do you make your way forward in trying to make a decision? So that's really what this talk is about. And at the end, I mean, if you can save your questions, you can put them in the chat if you'd like to, or if you save them to the end, and then we can go through questions at the end. There'll be plenty of time. Okay. So a little bit about myself. I was a primary school teacher, and then I left being a primary school teacher because I became a mum. And on that basis, I then wanted to do something different. And I kind of fell into reflexology for that reason. I'd had some reflexology during pregnancy, and I thought, well, I need to do something relaxing. I need to do something for my brain. I can't keep just talking about nappies and which play parks to go to and things like this. And those were all important things I was doing with my children, but I needed something back for me. So this is why I got into reflexology. I literally just thought, oh, I just need something to do. So I didn't go in it with a knowledgeable passion. That came afterwards, but I'm very, very passionate about reflexology now. So with that in mind, I've got a presentation for you just about not my path, because my path is very much, started 18 years ago, but the kind of path that you can take these days, which is different to when I trained. For instance, the courses are slightly different now. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and if there's a problem and you can't see my screen, then you would need to let me know. So I'm just going to start a new share. Okay, great. So can you see can you see a PowerPoint, which is how to become a holistic therapist? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good, thank you. I'm just going to make sure that I can see the chat and nobody's got a problem. So that's fantastic. So how to become a holistic therapist. And I'm going to get rid of people's faces there as well. So with how to become a holistic therapist, it's like I say, it's an absolute minefield, and you think, oh, what shall I do? How do I train? Where shall I start? You need to decide with just what treatments you'd like to offer. And sometimes that's really difficult because you don't know what treatments necessarily are out there. You've got to, what treatments that you've had, but you don't know what other treatments may be available. You don't know what treatments are going to be really popular in your local area, or something that you might actually never come across, but you're actually going to really enjoy. But you need to have a starting point. So are you more interested in more of a beauty side of things or the holistic therapies? So I know, and I knew from the outset that once I'd started going, holistics was the way where I wanted to go. And so that's the route I took. And then by the time I'd done one qualification, I kind of thought, oh, I'd quite like to do something else, actually. And it's almost like you get a bug for it and you want to train a bit more and more. So don't feel overwhelmed about having to do everything right here and now. You can actually just decide, I've got a starting place. So are you more interested in beauty or holistics? Are you interested in reflexology? Are you interested in massage? What treatments can you imagine yourself providing? Can you imagine touching people's feet, touching their backs? Sometimes we can overthink things though. So when we talk about touching people's bodies, if we thought about it too much, we'd probably not ever do it at all, because that's actually just kind of a small part of it. Why do you want to offer the therapies? So for some people, they want to offer the therapies because they actually want a second income stream. Maybe you're already working, and this is a great way to earn extra money. Maybe you've always been interested in it and you've never got around to it. I was talking to somebody today actually who wished she'd followed her heart and gone down the complementary therapy route, but she went down a different route because that's the route that she was kind of pushed in. How will training fit into your current lifestyle? So you've got to think, well, I could do an evening course, or I could do a weekend course, or I haven't got much time at the moment, so actually I can see myself just doing a shorter course at the moment. Like, for instance, an Indian head massage course will take a lot less time than a reflexology diploma, for instance. So, and if you wanted to think, well, actually, I'm not sure I want to do this, then something like an Indian head massage course is a perfect starter, because you could do it in less than 5 days. And that means that if you signed up for something, say, next month, by the following month, you're qualified and you could start offering that treatment straight away. Whereas a reflexology diploma or an aromatherapy diploma, you're looking more at an 8-month time period. What are your expectations of training? Do you think, well, you know, I know it's quite easy. I've done massage before. I'll just do a little bit and then I'll be fine. Do you think, well, I know I've got about 2 hours spare a week. That should be enough. Are you thinking I've got a budget of 500? I've got a budget of 2,000. So you've really got to think, what are your realistic expectations of your training needs? And what do you want to do? And what could you afford to do, both in time, effort, and money? Now, most courses anyway, course providers will offer some kind of payment plan where perhaps you can pay in 3 installments, say over an 8-month period. So that might help you out as well. What are accredited training courses? I don't know if you've started to look yet, but there are so many websites which tell you that they offer accredited training. And it could be that you're told that a reflexology diploma will only take you 2 days and it's an accredited course. I would say be very, very careful of claims like that, because reflexology is really complex. And if you could do it thoroughly in 2 days, then so many more people would do it. So I'm going to take you through what an accredited course actually is, and hopefully this will help you to understand the differences between the offerings that are out there. And then don't forget, you can ask any questions, and we'll go through all those at the end, because especially as we've got a small group, so we'll be able to do that. So there are many different holistic therapy courses available. Some are online and others have face-to-face training available. Many course providers state that their courses are accredited, but I found that this term can be used really loosely, as there are many companies that claim to accredit learning. One of the reasons that there is so much confusion is that the holistic therapy industry is actually not regulated at all. In other words, anybody could set up and say, oh, I'm a massage therapist, I'm a reflexologist. They could have no training and they would not be doing anything illegal, because per se, there are other reasons why that could be a problem. But the therapy industry is not regulated in terms of massage and reflexology. So this means there is confusion. there. In terms of other legislation, like for instance, the Sales of Goods Acts and Services, then that's something different, and you could get into trouble for claiming you're offering something that you're not able to actually offer. So what is accreditation? Go on to the next screen. So what accreditation to look out for? I don't know if any of you have come across the terms QCF or RQF. QCF was introduced in, I'm not sure when it was, 2015 maybe, to replace the NVQs. And most people still talk about NVQs. In 2018, all QCF qualifications were fully transitioned and they became RQF. Now, if you've ever been a teacher or worked in education, you will know that government and education bodies change things all the time, and you have to just keep keeping up with them. So in 2018, all QCF qualifications became the RQF, which is Regulated Qualifications Framework Qualifications. Now, these are the qualifications that you really want to look out for. And I'm just going to explain that QCF or RQF courses are nationally recognised. This means that if you could go walk into a salon, if you walked into a clinic and you said you had a QCF or RQF qualification, accredited qualification, then that is well known to be the standard. And because the contents of the QCF or RQF courses are standardized, this means that the amount of theory and practical work that you do will be the same whether the course was in Cheltenham, Bristol, Birmingham, and actually some of these courses, some of these awarding bodies offer them in other countries as well, so possibly in France or in other countries. Any courses that are government funded are QCF or RQF accredited because they need to know that the money is being spent on something where there are set standards. And I'm just going to go through that actually, as I've said, that the this industry, the complementary therapy industry, is actually unregulated, but we do have regulated qualifications. So the Office of Qualifications and Exams Regulation, which is OFQUAL, is the independent qualifications regulator for England. And its role is to ensure that qualifications are sufficiently valid, reliable, trusted, assessed properly, and so they're of a really good professional standard. And OFQUAL regulates by setting up the rules and the parameters that awarding organisations must comply with when they design and deliver the courses. So, for instance, I work with the awarding body VTCT, and they have a framework where they say, you know, these kind of things must be covered and these kind of things are going to be assessed. And that comes from the OFQUAL regulations. You might see a reflexology or a massage course online or being offered by someone somewhere, and they won't be OFQUAL. They won't be offering an OFQUAL regulated qualification. So for OFQUAL, they will range from levels 1, 2, 3, all the way up to level 8, and they will say how many kind of hours you should be expected to learn for, how many case studies that you would be expected to complete, how many assessments you'd need to complete. So they really do set the standards. I'm just going back a page. I'm sorry if I'm confusing you. What I might do is just check it in. Is everybody with me so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, all fine, thank you.
All right, good. I'm sorry if it's a little bit cumbersome, but it's just giving you the whole of the background, okay? Right, so does it matter then therefore, which awarding body you qualify with. So you could, these are a few of the awarding bodies. Actually, Cheltenham School of Complementary Therapy and Beauty, that's my school. So I'm not an awarding body, but I just put the logo up there. The Federation of Holistic Therapies, they do accredit some courses. ABT, we'll see that as an accreditation. ITEC and VTCT. Now, there are many, many more, and claims from companies and individuals that their course is accredited, you need to look into that properly, because just because they tell you it's accredited, it doesn't mean it's accredited with anybody that has a good standing in the industry. So some accreditation is worth more than others. Try to choose an accredited course that actually comes from a QCF or an RQF basis. Choose a course at the correct regulated level. So in other words, if you are wanting to get into beauty, the correct professional standard for beauty in the UK is level 2. So you could do a facial course, and that would be a level 2 course, and you could then set up your own business, or you could go and work in a salon or a clinic, and you could offer professional level facials. In the complementary therapy area, this is a level 3. So you could do a level 2 reflexology course, but that does not qualify you to go and offer courses professionally, to offer treatments professionally. And if you want to do that level 3, you could then become a member of one of the bodies like the Federation of Holistic Therapies, and you could become a member of them, you get insurance through them, and you would be recognised by them as having met the standard. This is really handy, actually. I have to say that in my business, we have people that come in and they have a well-being money pot from work, and they might have reflexology as part of their well-being package, or massage as part of their well-being package. But the person who needs to offer that to the therapist needs to be a member of a professional body, and quite often they do talk about being a member of something like the Federation of Holistic Therapists. So going back one step, the Federation of Holistic Therapists will only accept people as members if they are suitably qualified. So they have a QCF or RQF qualification at the correct level. So choose a course that gives you an option to build onto in the future. My feeling, and other people's feelings generally, is that we will become a regulated industry at some point. So you want to have the qualification that's going to allow you to move forward, and that will be a QCF or an RQF qualification. So the question that many people ask, especially probably through COVID time, was, can I learn reflexology, massage, or aromatherapy to a professional level purely online? And here you can see some people in one of my classes, in the reflexology class, which brings back lovely memories for me. And this, although it was only last year, I think, these people, but holistic therapy is about the human touch, of course. It's so important to have the correct skills as customers pay their hard-earned money for time with you. In a face-to-face class, you are given personal feedback, and you learn how to improve your technique week by week. Or if you have a class, say 1 weekend a month, then each time you go back for another class, you get that feedback again, and you just can get better and better. You can ask questions, you can have the class input. Some people ask questions that you thought, oh yeah, actually I want to know that. The tutor can assess your posture. You might say, oh, my wrist is hurting. They'll suggest other things that you can do to improve your own posture, to mean you're not stressing your own limbs. So I'm a big believer in that you need to attend face-to-face classes to complete a practical qualification. I think to be a really successful therapist, you really want to have that solid grounding. And I've put at the bottom here, why face-to-face training? And I would suggest you think, well, could you pass your practical driving test without face-to-face lessons? And I think you'd probably say no. And would you be comfortable having surgery with a doctor who is just trained online? Well, I'm pretty sure you'd say no. And I would say, you know, we are complementary therapists, and or you may want to aspire to be a complementary therapist, and people are putting their trust in you, and so we have to have the best training that we could possibly have. The demands of a regulated professional qualification. I'm just going to show you the demands of 3 of the most popular courses, and then you can ask and I can give you information on the others. So for instance, the diploma in reflexology has got 4 modules or 4 units to it. And the good thing about the qualifications, because they're OFQUAL, they have the same setup in each diploma. So the diploma in reflexology has Unit 1, Principles and Practices of Complementary Therapy. 2 is Business Practice for Complementary Therapies. 3 is Knowledge of Anatomy, Physiology and Pathology for Complementary Therapies. And 4 is Provide Reflexology for Complementary Therapies. Those first 3 units, they are exactly the same in the diploma for reflexology, body massage, and aromatherapy. So if you wanted to go on to do, say for instance, you wanted to study reflexology in year 1, and you decided, actually, I'd quite like to go on to do some body massage, you would not have to repeat principles, business, or A&P again, which is fantastic because that's already done. So you would only have to complete the last unit, which would be providing a different therapy. Now, in reflexology, it has a scary amount of case studies. Actually, it works out really well, but some people are put off by 100 case study treatments. This doesn't have to be 100 different people. It could be 100. It could be 10 people having 10 treatments, which feels so much more manageable. And the exams here are 2 multiple choice papers for anatomy and physiology, which you would go through and you would get prepared for. And then also 3 treatment observations as a minimum. And depending on which centre you learn with, they would show you how they would, what point they would provide those assessment opportunities. Going to the next course, that is the level 3 diploma in aromatherapy. And you can see that the first 3 units are exactly the same. The last unit is Provide Aromatherapy for Complementary Therapies. And in the aromatherapy diploma, you need to complete 60 treatments. And that consists of both aromatherapy massage, but also other applications, methods for application, like using essential oils for a compress, for inhalation, so to breathe in, maybe for a bath blend. So that's our lovely potions and lotions. That's what we like to call it, really. And the exams and assessments for that would be 2 multiple choice anatomy and physiology papers, just like the reflexology, and then a minimum of 3 treatment observations. And the last one, is shorter. This is the diploma in massage. And this one is, again, the identical units 1, 2, 3. And then we've got Provide Body Massage for Complementary Therapies. For this qualification, it is Swedish massage. It doesn't add in hot stone, Indian head. That's a different qualification. But the amazing thing is, once you've got a base of massage, you can then learn Indian head in a couple of days. You could add on hot stone massage in just 1 or 2 days. You could learn pregnancy massage in 1, 2, 3 days. So once you've got the base, you can add on other specialities pretty easily. This has case study limit of 30 massage treatments. And again, it's the same. The exams and the assessments are multiple choice anatomy and physiology, and also a minimum of 3 treatment observations. Then we have how we train. So we used to always offer the full days in with theory and practical. We now do the theory in an e-learning format, so people can start much earlier, which is much nicer, especially for the reflexology course, where there's a lot to do anyway. So people tend to start that earlier, and you can go through all of these different parts of anatomy and physiology and do that work in your own time, just as long as you keep up with it. And then as well as that, we've got the face-to-face teaching groups, and we have a good amount of training days. And what you want to look for in any course is you don't just want to have a 2-day face-to-face training course. You need so much more than that when it comes to learning a practical skill like this. These are just the ideas of the kind of dates that we offer. So you need to think about how many face-to-face training hours will you get. And here's an example of the face-to-face training that we provide. And we do a day 10 till 5. So we're not doing short days. And we have this number of training dates. So it's about 8 days on top of all the theory that you would be doing as well. So it's not just 2 days, and it's also days that are spread out between September and April, and then you'd be given a little bit longer as well, just to complete your case studies, because we believe you need that amount of time. So that's again something to consider. If you want to do something very quickly, you've got to think about your hands, your wrists, your ability to learn something properly, and your ability to do something and to improve, and that takes time. So this is why we personally prefer to allow that time. I've got some testimonials there, which are from previous students and Katie is a prime example of somebody who was like, oh, I just don't know. And she was nervous. She says, I'm nervous as I'm a mature student and I have a busy life, and I just don't know whether I can do this. I'm trying to do this around family. I'm trying to do this around a job. And she actually really loved the learning experience. And it's amazing to find how many people actually grow in their own self-confidence and become proud of something that they've done just for themselves. And she said that she felt totally ready to go out and treat the public, which is fantastic. And she does treat the public, and she gets paid for it, which is, amazing and what we want. And here's just some of my students. Look how happy they are. And this could be you, not necessarily in my setting, but in another setting, because I don't know where you're based or what you choose to do. But these guys, they've had a good time, but they've learned as well. So I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to find out what you need to know. So if you put your mics back on, then I've just gone through a whistle-stop tour of the kind of qualifications that I would plead you to spend your money on, because, it's that thing, old adage of, if I buy something cheap, I might end up buying it twice. And I know the people who have actually done that. They've bought a course and then they've ended up buying a second, more detailed course. So what questions do you have? And anyone could ask me those questions.
Okay, I've got a question. So the reflexology course, it's for all of the courses. You said 3 of the 4 units are the same.
Yes.
So if you did reflexology, say this year, and then maybe next year you fancied doing one of the other courses, would it cost that full amount again?
No, most places would offer a discount. A lot of the time is it depends. And it depends also whether you're going to the same college or whether you go to a different college. So if somebody learnt with me 1 year and then the second year decided to come back and do another qualification, that's easy for me because I know exactly what they've learnt.
Okay.
And there is a process called RPL, which is recognised previous learning. So I
Okay.
know that I can sign off those units because I signed them off in the first place. So for me, that's easy, and I can straight away give a discount. And I think
Excellent. Okay.
I think last year that was something like a £300 discount.
Okay.
So it's
Brilliant.
definitely
Thank
worth
you.
having.
Yeah. Okay.
But if somebody were to come to me from another college and they said, oh yeah, I did this, I would have to spend longer looking at which awarding body they passed the qualification with, what they covered, and I might look at their portfolio, which is a record of their learning.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. What have you found out there at the moment in the market? What has confused you?
I haven't looked, to be honest. I've been coming to your location for sort of the obviously I was a guinea pig for some of your training, for some of your trainees.
Oh, okay.
So I've been coming to a few times, and then I think it was just last week I saw your post on Facebook about this session now, and I thought, oh, that could be quite interesting. So
Yeah.
I've not looked at anything yet. You're my first port of call.
Okay. Well, there are so many offerings out there, but it all depends. You've got to think about location. We had a lady last year who she traveled from London because her cousin had taken the course the year before.
Okay.
With us, so she then traveled from London to Cheltenham to take the same course,
Wow.
and she completed it. So that was amazing that she did that. So yeah. So there are courses that, if some people have got young children, they're thinking, oh, I can't be away, and so yes, it's a bit of a minefield. But any questions in terms of how it would fit around your lifestyle or anything like that? Anybody?
Yeah, more so when you're qualified, if that's okay.
Of course, yeah.
So I'm looking again. This is my first real point of call. Now, I've been thinking about this for quite some time. I've just started making steps in my own personal life that is going to allow me the opportunity to retrain to do something. So I'm looking at options, and this is one of the ones that I've been sort of mulling over for quite some time. But what I am trying to do is have a better work-life balance.
Yes, aren't we all?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just wondering, from a professional point of view, now you've been qualified and you've been doing it for quite some time. Like the kind of hours, what would be a typical day for yourself, like as a therapist? I kind of work long hours. I don't, my ideal is to try and change things up a little bit. And also, people who qualify, I know this might be a bit of a vague question, but do they tend to go and work for other people, or do they work for themselves?
That's a very popular question. So it's not vague at all. Okay. So in terms of hours, I can only tell you what I do and what I did. So for instance, I signed up for a reflexology course when my second child was 6 weeks old. I'd been at home with my first child and he was 2.5, and I knew that for my mental health, really, that it would be good for me to go and find myself again, rather than just being the mummy of 2 small boys, which is what I became, which was lovely, but I wanted something else. At that point, then I worked just evenings when my husband came home from work, and I was able to. I initially worked out of our conservatory, and then we converted our garage once we'd got a bit, some more funds. So you could either do that, depending on how many hours you do, depending on is really depending on how much you need to earn. Yeah. So that's a personal question. If you build up a client base, then you could, and you get a good reputation, you could work as many hours as you wanted. But most of us, we have to think, well, no, there are boundaries, and we have to save our hands. and you're trying to get a better work balance. So you would have to really think about, if you're working for yourself, you will earn more money, but you have to have a base, and you have to build up that customer base also, so you need a base to work from, but you also need a customer base to tap into. And creating a customer base takes time. You can't just put out a leaflet through someone's door. You know, I tell this to my students in the business studies. If you give out 100 leaflets through people's doors, you are really lucky if you get one responder.
Yeah.
So these things take time. So some of the people that have trained with me have gone into spas. Others have set up by themselves. Others have kept maybe 2 or 3 days for their day job, and then they've added, and then they've gone part-time. Sorry, I've got my dog in the background. And then he's now sat on my shoulder by the looks of things. And then they would maybe do 2 days at normal work, and then they would bring those days down gradually whilst their client base builds up.
Do you have many or do you see many therapists becoming sort of remote working, so going to people's homes? Because I have this idea in my head that I would like to be more of a remote and going to people's homes rather than because I don't have the facility at home to accommodate a garage conversion or that sort of thing. And I understand sort of, you know, renting beds or renting rooms, you know, will be quite costly. And you know, I'm just wondering if you come across that very often.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, there's you know, quite a big industry of people who are mobile workers. So absolutely, the biggest cost there, and it wouldn't be a huge cost, would be to make sure your car insurance is allowing you, you've got the extra business car insurance, so you could cart your things from A to B. And you know, there's absolutely a market for that. And also, you know, you might get a couple of people in one house, or even a couple of parents and a child that all want treatment. So actually you could do a whole evening's worth or a whole afternoon's worth in one household, if you're really lucky. But yes, I used to, I think a lot of us, when we start out, we do go and do some mobile work because there is definitely a call for it. Yeah, the room rental is a strange one. So I now have rooms that I can rent out, and actually the costs of having commercial premises are pretty big. But I'm talking about an entire commercial premises. So I've got 2 floors in a business, and I have to pay we got rates relief at the moment, so that's great, but obviously there's rent, there's a tax on any earnings anyway, of course. There is utility bills, there's the landlord's insurance, there's my own insurance. So those kind of things really add up. So nowadays, I think if you can get a room for £10 an hour, you're onto a winner. Because actually just paying £10 an hour just to rent someone's room is so simple compared to compared with having a commercial premises. But absolutely there is a good market for mobile.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
I do have one.
Okay, Emma.
I saw I've got the FHT. I am member of FHT already.
Oh, okay.
And I'm Polish, so I will study back to Poland physiotherapy. So I did some like you was talking about Indian head massage course and then hot stone massage, but long time ago. And I was thinking, and obviously I didn't have customer based.
No.
It's really hard to get them, like just to quit the job and just do that. And I was thinking what to do next, which course will be best to gain more customers, more clients, and just, you know, try to build up a little bit more. I did the cupping course, one dry cupping course as well. And it's so difficult. I really want to do that for many years. and
But
I don't know.
it's the thing is, you could do all the courses in the world, but if you don't have any clients, then
That's
it
the problem.
yeah. So actually, your best bet would be to maybe make a plan, sit down, think about how you're going to deliver your treatments, and whether you want to qualify in something different. But it would need to be probably something a bit bigger, like aromatherapy or reflexology, something different to what you've already done, and then start from there and maybe try and specialize in something. And actually, once you've got your physiotherapy, you'd be able to add on value to your treatments. So you would, for instance, people who are having massages at the business that I have, they're often saying, oh, what exercises would you suggest for me? And I've got this injury. And I think where I work, we have a very clinical ethos. And actually, if you go down that clinical, because of your clinical background, you could marry the two together and become very clinical. And so that would be your edge, I think, on it. I think you really need to think about where you're going to present that. And even if it meant you rented a room or something, you have to have a base so people can find you. Once people find you, they buy into people. So once you have a reputation and they know you, Anna, and they like Anna, and they say, hey, to their friends, you need to go and visit Anna because she taught me these great exercises. And when my neck was really bad, she massaged it. She did reflexology on my feet, which was really weird, but amazing. And she gave me neck exercises. I mean, how good is that?
Okay.
So but you can't hide away in a house. You need to find a way, because in the past we would have advertised in the newspaper 20 years ago. We would taken an advert out in the newspaper, and now we can't do that.
Yeah.
We have to find other ways.
Social media.
Yeah. Well, social media, but maybe other things. There on the business course, we talk about all sorts of different ways to try and get people to understand who we are and where we are.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So Naomi and Tracy, do you have any other questions? Coming back to you too.
No, I don't. Not just yet. But I may email you.
That's fine.
I'm pretty good as well, thank you.
Yeah. So really, I urge you to not go for a quick fix. If you have to wait, if you can't afford to do a proper course now, I would say put it off and do it in a year's time, because I do think, like I said in the chat, that at some point we're going to become a regulated industry, and more people, the growth of the industry is huge. We're looking at 20 to 30% growth in the next couple of years, because people are coming across to complementary therapies more and more, because they're not getting the answers they necessarily want from our typical healthcare system. And at the moment, to see an NHS physiotherapist in the Cheltenham-Gloucestershire area, I believe it's about a 38 week wait.
Wow.
So it's great. Yeah, so it's great that people are seeking alternatives. So there is, if you think the market is saturated, when I joined this community, I thought, oh, what if there's too many people doing it? And that was 19 years ago that I was thinking that. And there's more and more people, but it's still not saturated.
I do actually have one other question, going back to costings.
Yes.
I did have a look on your website, but I don't know if there's an error on the page, but do you offer finance options as well?
Finance options only from the point of you can pay in installments.
Okay. Yeah, you do offer installments.
Yes, so that's how we do it. So we don't offer the learner loans from the government, because although we offer the OFQUAL qualifications, we are not we're not a funded college. To be a funded college, you have to have something like a 500,000 turnover, and funnily enough, we don't have that. So we don't get Ofsted inspected either, but we do get inspected by VTCT, the awarding body, once a year.
So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this. And I wish you all the best, whatever you decide to do. It's a brilliant industry to get into. I haven't looked back. And you know, if your gut's saying that it's something you want to do, then go for it, because it's brilliant. It's the best job where people say thank you to you numerous times a day. And I don't think there's that many jobs that do that these days. So
That's very true. Yeah.
yes. So all the best to you. And
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank
oh,
you.
that's a
Taking
pleasure.
your time to speak.
All
with us.
right. Well, thanks for joining me this evening. Take care,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.